talking donkey. You might have seen a house fly, maybe even a super fly, but I bet you ain't never seen a donkey fly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, in today's episode, we're going to go through all the action from round 3. Well, there wasn't much action in our midfields. Hardly anyone cracked the 100. They were all poo-poo this week. Just coming down. Now, we look at our score this week. We got a score of 2009. Okay, it was at 2008. We managed to score an extra point somewhere. I don't know who got it. So we got to 2009. Now, it's good to get a top 3% score compared to what we got last week, which was a top 18%. So if we keep getting these top 3%, eventually it gets us to the top 100s. Okay, that's the way it works. But we're not allowed to get any of these top 20 or top 18% scores. So we'll see if we can manage this. Back it up one more time. So our ranking has spiked up to 13,000 spots up the ranking. So now we're ranked 7,600. So we're in the top 4% at the moment. And not far away from the top 1,000. I think I looked at scores. One of my friends is ranked 1,000 and something. And I'm about 140 points behind that person. So it's not many points behind. If we can manage to get a captain correct, maybe we can get some bonus points here and there. Anyway, let's have a look at who performed and who didn't perform this week. The players we brought in last week, we brought in Zorko the Magnificent. He scored a 135. We brought in Sinclair, scored a 162. And brought in Driscoll, scored a 104. So combined total, we got about 400 points from the 3 recruits we brought in. So that was probably one of my best ever recruiting weeks I've ever had, probably in history. Okay, so we had a big week with our recruits. We're going to try to back it up again this week and bring in some big guns. And I'm going to go through those trades in tomorrow's video. And you're going to have a shock by the time you go through what I'm going to do. So that'll be tomorrow's video. Now, we're going to discuss Sheezels later on. We're going to discuss some of these players. So Sheezels, Short, all going to be discussed, okay? The trick is not to bring in a player with the letter S. I said that in defense, but then again, Sinclair is the only exception, okay? He starts with S as well. So maybe it's SH, you don't bring them in. Anyway, we'll discuss Sheezels, Short. We're going to discuss Oliver. We're going to discuss a lot of these players. We're going to discuss Richards, Rosie, Callahan. What's going on, okay? Well, why is nobody scoring? We're going to also talk about the Ruckman. We're going to talk about Sherry. We're going to talk about players that you may have in your team, Gorn. So they'll be up for discussion. We're also going to discuss the forward line, okay? Now, the forward line is supposed to be our weakest line, okay? It's actually our best line. How does it work out? We've got forwards going nuts. We've got defenders going nuts. We've got midfield doing nothing. This has never happened. I've never seen this before. It's one of the most unusual years in the Supercoach I've ever seen. So we're going to try to add to our forward line this week and bring in 2 more guns. Okay, so I'll discuss who's going to come in later on. And rookies, we're having problems. Okay, we're going to talk about Nevitz. Okay, we're going to talk about Lindsay. Campariali, okay, all these players, we're having lots of problems. They're not playing. Armstrong scoring -3s, okay, Stone's only going up 46. You're seeing all these players as subs now. Money's getting affected. You're seeing Levi Ashcroft scoring very low 30s for a 200k player, scoring a 30. It's terrible. It's like a rookie. It's like a sub-affected score. So we're going to go for all that. And at the end of the video, I'll be discussing all the leagues. We're going to go through all our leagues, and because I have, as you would know, 10 leagues set up. Actually, there's 11 leagues set up plus the group. So we're going to discuss all the leagues because there's 110. Well, how many is there? 220 people in my leagues. They want to see some action, so we're going to keep them entertained as well. Just hammer down. Now, the first game up for discussion is going to be the Bombers against Port Adelaide, and now. The Bombers, Zach Merritt, scored a 106. His scoring has been decent, but it hasn't been unbelievable. The Zach Merritt that we know usually used to go at 130s, 140s, without having to score 3 or 4 goals. Okay, last week he scored a 140, but kicked 4 goals. We want Zach Merritt to go at 130, but no goals. Okay, so that when he kicks a goal, it's a bonus. Then he goes to 140. So we don't want to see Zach Merritt scoring a 106, especially for a player priced at 600. What was it, 630 or 640k? So it is a worry because of the time on ground he's spending in that midfield. Now, Zach Merritt's 67% mid-minutes, which means that he's not going to get forward eligibility, and he's not doing a lot in the midfield. We need Zach Merritt, if he's going to be a keeper in our teams, if he's going to be a top 8, we need him to do what Caldwell's doing and getting the 81%, but it's Zach Merritt copying 67%. Now, all of a sudden, Dylan Shield has come into the midfield again. We've got also Durham in the midfield, so there's 3 of them, and also Nick Bryan has now gone into the ruck. Okay, so Draper is now become the second ruck. Draper's become the full forward. So Bryan now at 76% CBAs has become the ruckman. The problem is Bryan isn't scoring much. Okay, now let's have a look. If we go to Bryan, Supercoach scores. Okay, let's close this. Okay. You can say at his price he's going to do well, but he's not. He's only scoring 79, 77, so he's actually not doing enough as a ruckman that's getting a lot of ruck time. So Bryan, if someone was thinking of getting a cheap ruckman, is not the answer. Now, with the kick-ins at Essendon, we're seeing that Redmond is the main man with Ridley. So there's 2 of them. Redmond's always been a hog, okay, always runs to these kick-ins, and Ridley is the other one. And Pryor only had 1 kick-in. Okay, so Pryor's not a big kick-in player, neither is Zach Reid. But the 2 of them, they went nuts this week. So we're going to look at that as well. Nick Martin, 88, I think is not good this year. Nick Martin. Caldwell is getting that mid-minutes, okay, but he didn't score. A lot of midfielders across all the games didn't score this week. It didn't make sense, okay. You saw the ruckman not scoring, okay? Now, the same thing with the ruckman. Not only are the midfielders not scoring, neither the ruckman, okay? We've got a problem in 2 departments right now. All we got is the wingers going nuts. So it looks like the game has shifted to the wings. All the rookies that are wingers are scoring massive compared to, well, you saw O'Driscoll, okay, at Freo, scoring a 104, a 95 last week. The wingers don't usually score like this, okay? They usually score 70s. That's why I didn't want to start O'Driscoll as a winger. But for some reason this year, the wingers are getting more possessions than previous years. So that's something to think about as well when it comes to our midfielders. The only midfielders that are scoring are those that go in and get the hard ball, okay? The contested possessions. They're the mids that are scoring the most points at the moment. Now, Ridley coming back to Essendon has improved Bryan as well as Reid scoring. Now, I don't know why, okay, but it has, okay? So it looks like it's freed up, especially Reid. Zach Reid's been freed up now, and he had 16 possessions. He went at 87%, so Zach Reid is back in business, okay? So a lot of you should own Zach Reid. Maybe not a lot of you own Pryor, but Pryor had a good game as well. Scored a 78 with 19 touches. And at Essendon, who else is there? Well, they got Al Habibi. Okay, now Al Habibi is going to be a rookie for us. What is it? 2 weeks away. Okay, so we're still 2 weeks. We've got to buy this week. Plays another game. Then we can bring in either downgrade to him or get rid of a rookie that's doing nothing. Like I have a Payton that's doing nothing. So he'll probably become an Al Habibi in 2 weeks' time. Another rookie that we have here is Kako. Now Kako had no goals this week and scored 62 points. That's actually decent, okay? So had he kicked a few goals, that probably would have been up to 80. So that's a good thing for Kaka owners. But he's always going to be up and down. And that's pretty much it at Essendon. There's not much to talk about at Essendon. However, when we get to Port Adelaide, there's a lot to talk about because things are not travelling that well at Port Adelaide right now, especially for owners of players, okay? Now, these players that have scored big are all irrelevant, okay? Again, Burgoyne on the wing, 121, although he did play half-back, I think, from memory. So, I don't get it, okay? Now, actually, where did Burgoyne play? Let's have a look. Where did Burgoyne play? Well, it looks like, we look at the kick-ins, all right, and Farrell had 6, Josh Sin had 5, Evans had 3, and Burgoyne had 3. So I'd say Burgoyne played more in defence. So looks like Burgoyne's got a role change now. If we look at his heat maps, okay, let's go to Burgoyne. So you can see here, previously he was on the wings. Even on the wing, he scored a 127 last week. It was against Richmond. Okay, now this week on half back, it says here, where did he play? It was centre half back. Okay, so Burgoyne playing half back, scored the 120 odd. How much cost for Burgoyne? Let's have a look at his price. Well, the only problem with Burgoyne is he's got mid-only eligibility and he's not cheap. It's 449k, so just ignore what I just said about Burgoyne, okay? So he doesn't come very cheap. Now, he did go up in price as well. He went up 18k, but it's a very awkward price. So just ignore what I mentioned about Burgoyne. I think he's good for draft only. Now, Marias scored the 94. He scored more than my Primos. And Marias this week is a lock. 27 possessions on the wing again. Okay, now wingers are going nuts. So Marias has Burgoyne's role. Okay, so Burgoyne's gone to defence and Marias has taken that role and he's gone nuts with it. 27. Now, Butters comes back in. I don't think that affects Marias at all because Marias has the wing role, not a midfield role. So I think Marias will keep his role. And especially after this game, he had a magnificent game. Even though the Power lost, he was the shining light for Power. And Kane Farrell scored the 86, the horny man, the 82. And this is a lucky 82 for us because he was on 34 points at three-quarter time. He had a 48-point last quarter, which got him to 82. Otherwise, he was looking like a disaster, a train wreck. There's a lot of room for improvements. That's a lot of upside for the horny man, okay? We just need to see it, okay? The upside was the last quarter. Let's hope that last quarter is now going to become the norm for him, and he can go now 120s, because I looked up the horny man's stats. In his last 17 games, okay, 17, he's only toned up 3 times. In his last 14 games, only toned up twice. So that is a worry, okay? So it's time for the horny man to step up. And I think once Butters comes back, the horny man, I think he'll step up. I think Butters will give another dynamic, and maybe he needs some support. Because once we saw the tag come in on Rosie, there was not much support going towards the horny man. He was on his own, so he needs someone to support him. So I think Butters is the man. And speaking of Rosie, 64, that's disappointing, but if you look at it, the positives, okay, always look for positives. He did score 84 fantasy points with a strong tag, okay, so he still had 22 touches. He just went at 59%, okay, increases to 70%, and that 64 becomes, let's say, an 84, okay. 84 is not a good score, but it's better than a 64, because when you get a 64, the price drop is massive, and then it stays in the system for 3 weeks. So don't be too concerned with Rosie if you own him. I've seen a lot of people trading him out, okay? I understand, because it's something that I would do as well. The old me would do this, okay? But the new Abs Magic, we're going to try to hold on to these Spuds a bit longer and then trade him out towards the back end, okay? So we can just hold on to him for now, okay? Because he did score two lots of 130s back-to-back, and no one was complaining then. So he's going to cop a tag. He's got St Kilda this week, probably another tag, okay? So we're going to cop it again, but it's best 18, so it doesn't matter. We've got Marias to cover us, okay? Because Marias will outscore him again. Just calm it down! Now, there are some people that own Pepper. He scored a 48. Again, only the one behind. They got beat. Pepper he usually goes around about 66. That's his average, 65, 70. He'll have the odd game, which we saw against Richmond. He's a track bully. He'll smash the Tigers, but when it comes to a tougher opponent, not saying that Essendon are going to be the toughest opponents, but even against Essendon, he didn't do much. But he did go at 68 fantasy points, so he sort of didn't do all the right things at the right time. Would you trade him out? I'd probably give him another. He's got a good score in the system. I could probably hold for one more week, then trade him out next week. I would say I wouldn't rush to trade him out this week. His break even shouldn't be that that high. He should be. Let's have a look at his break even. Well, it's still at minus 13, so there's no point trading him out because he's going to score at least a 60. Okay, so if he scores a 60, he's going to make you 35. Maybe 40k, so you're better just to hold him, okay? Make your money this week, then trade him out next week, okay? Sell him at 235k, for example. Why sell him at 199k? Just get the extra k out of him. He's only made 18k, he's done nothing yet. At least he'll make another 35k, and if he gives you a big score, then you can hold him a bit longer. So there's no point in trading out the Pepperman right now. However, Joe Berry scoring at 34 is a different story, okay? Now, Joe Berry's been another disappointment. There's a lot of forwards, even in my team, a lot of disappointments. And it's just the role. You look at Joe Berry, you look at Kako, these small forward roles are very tough to score with, okay? Sometimes we get lucky, but they just need a big game, and then their scoring spikes up. We now go to the Carlton and the Western Bulldogs game. Now, I didn't watch this game, and the reason was because just as about to watch it, okay, I got a phone call, and my mum went shopping, okay, and she fell down at Safeway in St Albans, so I had to go and help her, and then we took her to the hospital, and she's got a bit of water in her lungs, so and she's struggling to walk, but the hospital's taking care of her, so she's in good health right now, and she'll be released soon, hopefully within a couple of days. So for that reason, I was pretty much down all weekend. I didn't feel like watching much football. So Carlton and the Dogs, I didn't watch this game at all. However, I did look at some of the highlights, okay? And at Carlton, Chera, I mean, he's doing good. He's scoring what he's supposed to score. But as owners, when you've got a 440k player, you sort of want him to go about 110 just to make you a bit of money. Even though he's a placeholder, you need a bit more out of him, okay? So he's only getting 73%, or is it 75% time on ground. That's not enough for a midfielder. That's actually unheard of. Most of the mids should get about 85%. Either he's not fit enough, is that why they're not playing him? I don't get it, okay? So he only had 75% time on ground. Walsh, something's happened to him, okay? Even when I owned him last year, he couldn't kick. His kick has improved 73%. That's a shock. Normally he goes at 50% and he still couldn't score. Cripps, I don't know, okay? He's going to be up and down. You go further down. Okay, is there anyone here at Carlton that we should be talking about? Well, there is. There's Evans, okay? Now, Evans only had 7 disposals. And where did he play, okay? Playing deep forward, so probably... Who played on the wing, okay? Hollands, where did he play? Starting half-back. Okay, we're just going to see if we can get Camporelli back in the team, okay? So hopefully Camporelli comes back in the team this week. Now we go to Libba, and we saw he scored a 133. He's averaging 135. He's going nuts, okay? Now, these inside Bulls are the ones that are scoring this year. We see Libba, we see Raul. Who else is the inside Bull that's scoring? You'd expect it to be Cripps, but he didn't score. But he has been scoring, but not this week. But it's these inside Bulls that are scoring. I think I made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to own up to it with Ed Richards. Scoring, although he did get 89 fantasy points, so he must have just 57%, he just hacked it. But he didn't get he only had 21 touches. See, Libba had 30 touches. Libba was I needed to find that 30k extra to get Libba. Would have been a massive difference to the team. Just there, 60 points. That last week, another 20 points. The week before, another 20 points. Before you know it, it's 100 points in a matter of 3 weeks just for 30k. So it would have made a massive difference. But we missed the boat. Okay, the boat has sailed because I'm not going to bring in a 37-year-old grandpa into the team, especially when you got the Bond's going to come back soon. So luckily, he's not highly owned. That's what I can say. But Davidson is a Jet, okay? Scored a 129. He's going to make us a lot of cash, okay? The only problem is everyone owns him. So we're all going to make cash, okay? So he'll make everybody very happy right now. Now, Kennedy is having a good season as well. He's probably better than the Horny Man. We picked the Horny Man because we didn't like Kennedy because they said Kennedy's going to play more forward. It was supposed to be Sanders in the midfield, Kennedy forward, but we got conned in by the coach again. If only the coach just told us Kennedy's going to play in the midfield, it would have been so much better for all of us. Because if you look at the midfield minutes, Kennedy had 81%, Libba had 81%, and then my boy Richards only had 65%, whereas previously Richards was mainly in the midfield. Now this week he dropped off, and Sanders had the 38%, so Freya 27%. His midfield minutes actually dropped even more, okay, because it was 36 and 33, now 27. And Sam Darcy is a Jet at 23%. So what's going on with these players now? If only we knew, we would have started Kennedy even previous weeks. Well, round one, he only had 42%, and all of a sudden it's getting bigger and bigger. Before you know, he's going to be the main midfielder. Before you know it. Now, going back to the game, okay, we talked about Sanders. A lot of people would have traded him out. He's been disappointing. Okay, now, Tim English is probably the biggest disappointment of the year for me. I ranked him as probably the best ruckman this year. I was way off. But then again, 56% disposal efficiency. So he had 16 touches. That's probably still not enough. He needs to have about 20, 25 because he's not a decent tap ruckman either. Although he did have 34 hitouts. Well, De Koning had 28, and De Koning's a gun. Did I even mention De Koning before? Anyway, if I didn't, De Koning's a Jet. Okay, now, going further down, Dale, 81, and that was a lucky score because he was on 50, okay? He had one intercept, one punch, intercept, whatever they call it, intercept, a punch or whatever, spoil. Then from that spoil, went and kicked the goal, 30 points for that action. So from 50 went to 81. The same thing happened last week to Freya. But the problem is, it didn't happen this week, okay? So Freya got stuck on the 68, whereas last week, he had the same score, 68, but just that one action got him to 100, which is why I didn't want Freya, because I knew he just has these one or two big acts that gets him these points. Ed Richards, we talked about, even though he had good fantasy points, it didn't relate to his Supercoach scoring. But we're going to hold him, okay? So the weapon, my weapon this year is shooting with a water pistol. We didn't arm him with the bullets. We ran out of cash. Couldn't afford the heavy artillery for him, so he's got the water pistol. Now let's go to Melbourne and Gold Coast, and we'll look at Melbourne. And Bowie, I still don't know what to make of him, okay? He scored a 116, kicked a goal, 84% time on ground. I just think it's an awkward price, but he's probably a better pick than Freya from the looks of it. But if you don't have him now, don't worry about it. Because kick-ins wise, let's take a look at the kick-ins. With Salem and Bowie, you can see when we didn't have May in the team, they were sharing the kick-ins 5 each. The minute May came in, and I actually said this, because May's coming in, I was a bit worried about Salem and Bowie, because they're going to lose 20 points from their kick-ins. And you can see it there. They only had one kick in each, okay? So that's where they lost their points. However, Salem still scored, okay? So it's not going to be an every week score for Salem because this can't happen for a halfback to keep scoring 120s with no kick-ins. So you can expect a lot of 80 scores for Salem and for Bowie, both of them. Okay, so one week you'll see one of them scoring 80, the next week you'll see the other one scoring 80. As you can see here, Salem scored a 77 this week. No, only one kick-in. The same thing will happen to Bowie, okay? So even though he's got a 116, if you didn't get him, don't worry, okay? Because this score won't continue. It's impossible. So because May has got all the kick-ins now. Even with all those kick-ins, May's not even scoring, okay? So kick-ins are not the sole answer, but it gives you just those bonus points. Now, Rivers, 101, he's not relevant no more. Max Gawn, 88. Had 15 disposals, but he went at 53%. Had 30 hitouts. Gold Coast had 20. So 30 hitouts for Gawn is not a lot, okay? Usually Gawn goes at 40. So he's having, 15 disposals. How many marks? 5 marks. I think 2 were intercept marks, or 2 or 3 of them. If you've got Gawn, you've got to hold another week, okay? Because you've got other problems to fix. Let his price drop. He'll go back up again. Okay, same thing with Cheezels, same thing with the Horny Man. Once you start them, they're always going to drop in price. I mean, we actually thought the Gawn would not drop in price. We actually thought the Gawn would go up in price, okay, but it didn't happen. So he's just out of form, okay? So you got him now, you got to stick with him, okay? Because you got other things, you got rookies to bring in. You got to balance your team out now. You got to fix the team up. So trading out Gawn is not going to be the answer. Because who are you going to trade into? Sherry just scored an 80 as well, okay? So the ruckman, they're not scoring. Now, Langford looked good, 87, but he went at 76%. I think it was like something like 90% by foot. Okay, now that's a rare thing to do. So don't expect 87s from Langford every week because he's not a high possession player. Even though he had 26 touches, you can sort of expect Petrarca to go back in that midfield because if you look at the CBAs, okay, Langford had more CBAs than Petrarca. This is unheard of. Their best player, Petrarca, they put him in the forward line. Play him in the middle, okay? What kind of coaching is this? Petrarca is a Jet. He should be in that midfield. So surely, if something is wrong with him, or they just put him in the forward line, you got other small forwards that can kick goals. You don't have to have Petrarca there, all right? Why take out your best player? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, Oliver's locked into that midfield, okay? So we're happy with Oliver, just on his score, okay? The score was poo-poo. But if we go back to Oliver, he did have 108 fantasy points, 31 disposals. So Oliver's still going to be a top 8. It's just that he had an off game. Now, he gave away one 50-metre penalty from memory. He had 7 clangers, okay? That's where his score went, 7 clangers. So don't worry about Oliver's score, because Oliver's still getting the pill. 6 tackles. Oliver is still in form. Just had a disposal-wise, an off day, okay? Now, if we go further down, Melbourne, is there anyone else of any interest here? Well, we'll go Lindsay here. Scored a 9, went off. Don't trade him out, okay? He's going to be a player that scores 80s every week. If you trade out Lindsay this week, he's not going to play this week. He's going to play the following week, apparently. You're going to ruin your structure because the minute you trade Lindsay out, you're going to lose a player that's scoring 80s in your midfield as a rookie. And these players are vital because now we've got Nevitt as a sub. These players are going to kill us. We've got Ashcroft scoring 30s. A player like Lindsay has got job security and is locked in for 80s. You don't trade him out. Even though he's going to probably not make as much cash early on, it just means you have to hold him a bit longer. All right, so don't trade him out now. Let this score of 9 drop out of the system, and then once that 9 drops out, then he'll still make his 150 to 200k cash. He'll still make it for you, okay? So hold Lindsay, okay? Just hold on to him. Just calm it down. Now, Henderson scored the 43. Okay, had only the 1 tackle this week, so his tackles were down. Had a disappointing game, but the whole team did. I mean, Henderson scored 43, but then you look at Petrarca, he scored 80, okay? And Petrarca's a Jet and played in the same position virtually in the forward line. So Henderson, there's room for improvement. It's just that it didn't work out this week. They only kicked 8 goals. And Johnson, he had a bad game, okay? Had 5 disposals, 2 kicks, 3 marks, had 4 tackles. It was a poor game by Johnson compared to last week. So hopefully, because I've got him in my team, it could be another dead rookie, but hopefully he improves on this score. Now, we're going to discuss Gold Coast. We've got a lot of things to talk about here. Okay, the first thing is Matt Rowell. 136 Supercoach points, 15 kicks, 21 handballs. The thing that appeals to me about Rowell, I'm going to show you now. With the CBAs, we were told that Rowell won't get the same amount of CBAs. Well, Hardwick wasn't lying, okay? So he did only get 76%, whereas last year, if you look at Rowell, I go to 2024. Matt Rowell, well, he was in the 70s as well. He's a couple of 50s, so it's the same thing. Nothing's changed. He had the odd 80s here, but he's got a lot of the 70s last year as well. He didn't score that well with the 70s last year, but he is this year. Okay, the difference is he did have easier opponents, so that's one thing to consider. However, let's go into his heat maps, and I want to show you something, and I want to talk about fantasy heat maps, okay? Matt Rowell in fantasy has never been a fantasy player, okay? You can see here, 129, his highest before that was 132, that was against Geelong, but he doesn't usually go 100s, okay? You can see a lot of 80s, 70s, he's not really a fantasy-type player. The reason I'm showing you fantasy scores is because with fantasy, you need a lot of disposals to get fantasy points. It's not like in Supercoach where it's impact. Supercoach is more impact points. Where if you go to his Supercoach, all right, his impact was the same as his fantasy this week. Okay, 136. His fantasy was high as well, so he didn't have much impact. He just had it all on a string because they were all scoring in the midfield. Now, 136, 137. 2 weeks back to back. 36 touches, 30 touches. All right. Last year against Richmond, had 29 touches, scored a 113. He does have these big games. But then he has a lot of these 80s and 70s and 60s, where he doesn't get 30 touches. He gets 16 touches, 20 touches, 24 touches, only 79. He needs to get 30 touches to get 130. Now, he's not usually a 30-touch type player, okay? Normally, so you can see a 35-touch game gets you 128, all right? He's not one of these accumulators, okay? As a junior, he was, but he's never been one in the big time. Here you can see 33 touches at 131. He needs 30 plus. But there's going to be a lot of games when he gets 20. So the 21 touches is a 97, which is still decent. Okay, 32 touches here at 110. I suppose he does get 30s here. He got 16 here and gets a 71. So it depends if he gets tagged or not, I suppose. But the way I saw Raul play, he looked like a gazelle running around, okay, like a Ferrari, okay, absolute Ferrari. If he can keep this form up, all right, the way he played against Melbourne, because he made Oliver look really slow, and mind you, Oliver's supposed to be really fit right now. He's not slow. Raul made Oliver look really slow, and Raul is not the Speedy Gonzalez, but this week he was. He's fitter than before. Looks like he's lost weight. His mind, he just looks so good. Maybe he's not in the grass anymore. Maybe he's having something else these days. Maybe he's having actually spinach right now, no more grass. So it looks like he's splashed the cash on the spinach. So he's playing much better. Took Miller, kicked the 3 goals, scored the 127. I think he's going to get DPP in the forward line. He didn't spend much time in the midfield. If I have a look at the midfield minutes, I think it was less than Humpty. And speaking of Humpty, 111. 15 contested possessions, okay, that's huge. And I looked at his last week. He had 11 contested possessions last week. These are big figures. If Humpty can get 10, 15 contested possessions every week, he's going to score 110 every week, okay? So he's going to rely on contested possessions. But he's not going to get 30 touches. He's going to be a 20-touch man. But even at 20 touches with 1 goal a week, okay, we're going to see Humpty score roughly 100. He's only 270k. So I'm actually very interested right now in Humpty because he no longer just kicks the ball nowhere. He actually looks now when he kicks. They found he went to Specsavers, okay, and they put glasses on him. Okay, he's got eye contacts, so he can actually see now. So now he hit targets because if you look at his kicking accuracy, it's say 60%. Well, even that's not much, but still it's better than before. Now, Noah Anderson is the cherry on top. I ended up put the cherry there, so he's got the 109. If I was to pick a player from Gold Coast, it's probably going to be Anderson, but when they tag Anderson, he doesn't score, so that's the only problem with Anderson. Whereas Raul, he also doesn't score, but he scores better than Anderson when he gets tagged. So a bit of, because Raul's a bull, Anderson's easier to tag. Now, going further down, Flanders isn't not ready yet, okay? Had 25 touches. Same mid-minutes as Humpty. Okay, they were switching. Okay, so Humpty and Flanders were switching, but I don't know, he didn't have the impact. Okay, it still had 11 contested possessions, but he had a lot of cheap touches, whereas Humpty had a lot of the tough stuff. Okay, Humpty laid 6 tackles. Flanders, how many tackles for Flanders? 1 tackle. There's your stat there. Okay, so Humpty's more of a bull. Okay, and we love the bulls. Now. And speaking of Flanders, I think we watch him. I think at the end of the day, he may still end up being a top 6 defender. So we're just hoping for this price drop now. If we can get him roughly around about 520k, it could be a bargain. All right, so we're just going to hope he drops in price. Now we go to St Kilda and Richmond, and the boy that I brought in, Sinclair. I mean, I brought Sinclair in. I wasn't expecting a 162. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I was just hoping for a 120. Okay, so scoring the 162 made my day. So I got him at the right time. And 40 touches. That's massive. We vice captain McRae scored the 120, and we became greedy guts. We didn't take it because we want more. Okay, at Abs Magic. Okay, so we decided to collect the 105 instead. And we're happy to get that. So sometimes you just can't be greedy in Supercoach. You just gotta. It's worth the risk, but sometimes it's not. What happened if my player got injured? I would have got nothing for captain. So when you say a 120 from now, I'm just going to take it, okay? That's the best thing I can do. We saw Sherry. Some people jumped on Sherry. He didn't score either. Now, Rowan Marshall, I really like this pick, okay? And I think, well, not that my opinion is always correct, but I think Rowan Marshall is going to be top 3 this year, considering the form drop of Gawn and 23 touches, not many hit-outs, kicked the goal, 117. I think Rowan Marshall... We saw last year the winner. He went nuts with Rowan Marshall, and he was on the ball, okay? And he had Rowan Marshall the back end of the season. Rowan Marshall won him Supercoach. So I want to get Rowan Marshall so he could win me Supercoach, okay? That's a secret. Just pick Rowan Marshall. Just calm it down. Now, Hugo Garcia scored the 99, but don't get too excited if you're an owner, or don't get too upset if you traded him out, because he's not going to repeat this, because we saw Steele didn't play, and Garcia took Steele's role. Steele will be back this week, probably. So Garcia loses this role now. And going further down, Travaglia, 83. He looks decent. If he can give us another 80-odd, okay, we can almost consider him. And probably have to bring him in. Okay, so another player, rookie, that we might have to bring in. So we can watch him close. And we saw that O'Connell, I think he got the concussion from memory. Was it a concussion? Yeah, it was a concussion, okay, and scored the 3. His cash making's finished, okay. O'Connell, unfortunately, the young man is going to miss next week, and then his cash making dies with that 3, so he's no good now. Hasty also is a finish. We actually traded him out, scored the 21. And that's pretty much it for the Saints. And one player I didn't mention was Wanganeen Malera. He scored the 110. He's doing his job. But you got to keep in mind, they played Richmond, okay? And Richmond, pretty easy to score against, especially for defenders. And they're going to play Zorko the Magnificent is going to play against Richmond this week. So vice-captain straight away. Now, the Nank scored the 123. I'm very happy. Had 13 kicks, 8 handballs. Last week he only had 11 disposals for a 67. This week he doubled it. Okay, so very happy. And 16 contested possessions, no tackles. And Nank usually has 6 tackles. So if he had 6 tackles here, this would have been an extra, say, 24 points. This could be a 150 game from the Nank. So very happy with the Nank's performance. Going further, there's not many players here to talk about except for Trainer. 14 kicks, 4 handballs at 77%. So looks like they slowed the game down at Richmond in defence, and by slowing it down, it's allowed Trainer now not to rush his kicks. So it looks like Trainer could be the real deal. Could be our best rookie in defence right now. So we're going to keep an eye on Trainer again this week. Jaden Short, 24 kicks, 2 handballs at 76%. He's not going to be a keeper. He's an awkward price. He's not going to make a lot of cash. And with the kick-ins, let's go to Richmond. Okay, kick-ins. Who's taking the kick-ins at Richmond now? This week, they've decided that Miller should only take 2 kick-ins. Okay, last week it was 8. This week they've reduced it down to 2. Okay, now trying to make sense of this. Short had 4 of them, and who else? Luke Trainer took 2 of them. That's a good team for Trainer. So. Looks like Trainer's going to take some kick-ins. Took as many as Miller. But with Short, I'm actually going to trade him out this week. I need his cash. I don't need him in defence anymore. I've built my defence, so Short's going to go out. But if Short's the worst of your problems, you trade him out. If you've got other problems, you can just hold on to Short a bit longer. There's no rush, okay? Now, other players to take note of at Richmond, we've got Lalo, okay, because someone said to me on one of my comments, if I talk about Richmond players, I should pronounce them correctly, okay? So it's Lalo, okay, for that person that wants the correct pronunciation, okay? Now, just calm it down! So, Lalo with the 45. It's not enough for a 200k player, so if you have him, I'd probably trade him out. And Lynch, the 42, is not good. Okay, for Richmond, forward line is not good. Armstrong scored a -3 points. Callum Smith came on and scored 23. I think he's the specialist sub at Richmond. And that's a decent score, 23. With only 25% time on ground, he could be a good scoring player for us as well. Unfortunately, he's going to go up in price very slowly. So he's not going to have a bubble game, okay, until he has a full game. That's his bubble game. So we're probably going to miss out on him. Now, we'll go to Hawthorn and GWS. Okay, now, I didn't watch this game either, okay, because they had 2 games on Saturday night. So I'm going to go through this game quickly because I didn't watch it. So Will Day scored the 103. Apparently, he was tagged for 1 quarter, or I'm not sure. He was on 80 points at half-time from memory. So he was going nuts, and then he stopped. So I'm not sure what happened to him. I don't have him anymore, okay. I still plan on getting him back, okay, because I needed to fix up my defence urgently. So I'll probably get him back once he's dropped in price. So I'm hoping he drops more in price, and then hopefully I'll jump on him. He's got the bye round this week anyway. Going further down, we've got the Sick Dog. I think not Supercoach relevant this year. That's about it at Hawthorn. There's nobody else, okay? There's Lloyd Meek had a big week this week, okay, because he was overdue from last week. The ones that didn't score last week scored this week, and the ones that scored last week didn't score this week. So the rucks are just up and down like a yo-yo. Now going to GWS, Lucky Whitfield scoring the 109 with 34 disposals. That's a low score. Went at 64%, 5 clangers. So you can expect more from Lucky Whitfield. Still owns the kick-ins. The player, Tom Green, scored the 89. Okay, he's not doing it this year, Tom Green. It's not the same Tom Green. Briggs scored the 99. Again, a ruckman not scoring. Usually ruckman, we expect 120s because they got so much action, but it's not happening. We go to Stone, scored the 46. 68 fantasy points, though, so had 18 disposals. That's a good game. For 18 disposals, only a 46. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we're going to find out. We go further down. Callahan, 21 disposals, 61%, 7 clangers. Okay, so Callahan had a shocker, and he is not good this week. 55. Apparently got tagged, so we're going to find out more about him. Copped the McGuinness tag in quarter 2, so copped the tag there for Callahan, and that's pretty much it in this game. Now we go to Brisbane Lions and the Cats. Okay, now Zorko the Magnificent, 135, just a jet. Okay, you should never. I never worry about Zorko anymore. It's an automatic 130 the minute Zorko steps on the field. Will Ashcroft had a big game, 136. Had a lot of CBAs this week. Dunkley had the 105. Lockie Neal scored the 71. He was shut right down. He went at 45% disposal efficiency. He had an absolute shocker, and he was tagged heavily. We got other players here. Who else is here of interest? We got Levi Ashcroft, only 12 disposals. That's not enough for a rookie. Scoring at 36. The owners will be absolutely furious right now. 200k player. It's not enough. What do you do with him? Well, he's got job security, but if you need players to bring in, he's not going to make much more cash. I think his ceiling's around about 70 odd. We saw an 80 odd game as well, but he plays Richmond this week, so that's an easier game. So hopefully he'll go nuts for you this week. And there's not much more to discuss at the Lions. Okay, Dunkley, 26 disposals. He just didn't score this week. He went at 42%. He could have gone much better. Okay, so disposal efficiency was terrible. It was a wet game because we saw Buddy Smith. Scored 28% disposal efficiency. Professional footballer. Okay, professional. Okay, a high recruit at 28%. I've never seen someone go at 28% before. 25 disposals. Virtually, he played for the Lions this week because every time he had the ball, the Lions players knew the ball's coming to them. Okay, they were just asking him to pass it to them. He would gently pass the ball to the Lions players. So the Cats had one player less this week because Smith was on the field for the Lions. Now, the thing is, we're going to bring him in this week as well because Champion Data love him, okay, and he was on 20 points. It was 20 points with one disposal that was effective. He had 3 disposals non-effective. Before I knew, he was on 33 points with 2 effective disposals and 1 tackle. So Smith is a must-have because Champion Data have him in their teams. So I'm going to bring him in this week. If we go further down, Is there anyone else of interest? We've got Sam de Koning, 50 points, got subbed out. The owners will be absolutely devastated, and I feel sorry for you guys. So, because I was at one stage thinking of bringing him in, lucky I didn't. So, I dodged a bullet, you can say, but I copped other bullets elsewhere. That's one that I dodged. The one that I didn't dodge, however, is Nevitz. The sub scored 20 points as a sub at Geelong on a wet condition day at the Lions, where the Lions have got gun-hardened midfielders. The only tough nut you got here is Dangerfield, probably Atkins as well, but Atkins is tagging, so he's not really... that probably makes sense in a way why Nevitz was a sub, because they had no room for him in the midfield, knowing that they were going to tag Zorko the Magnificent. That actually makes sense now. Okay, so maybe Nevitz doesn't get that sub vest unless we see in the team O'Connor come into the team. Once O'Connor comes in, then we know that Nevitz is going to be the sub, because then O'Connor takes Nevitz's spot in that midfield. So just keep an eye on that. The minute you see Mark O'Connor at Geelong getting a game, okay, it's a bad news for Nevitz. And the other player to take note of was O'Sullivan, scored the 77, but this week we've got Stewart back. So Stewart comes back. We think this week that also the Conning moves into the back line because their ruckman comes in. So maybe Collar Jasny also plays this week. Okay, so they've got a few coming back to that defence line. So I'm not sure on job security for O'Connor, because I actually thought that Mullen would be the one that would be moving out, but Mullen is actually doing a good job as a tagger. I mean, he kept, where is he? Okay, at Charlie Cameron, only had 7 disposals, 1 goal. That was all from Mullen. Okay, so Mullen's has a job, so he's not extra luggage down the back, or baggage, whatever they call it. So who goes out? Okay, I think it's going to be O'Sullivan, to be honest. Now we go to Adelaide versus North Melbourne. Now let's get these Supercoach points correct. Now Rory Laird is going to get DPP in defence. Let's take a look at Rory Laird's scores this year. Rory Laird, because he's not scoring, or he's not taking kick-ins, he's got a 101, 89 and a 124. It's actually not enough. I don't think he's going to be top 6. So probably just keep an eye on him, but he had a field day against North Melbourne. That won't happen every week. I owned Laird last year, and the back end, he's going roughly around here, about the 100 mark. So Laird's price will drop. It'll go down to about 500k. It won't drop straight away because he's got that 124 now, but it will come down. Okay, and once it does come down, if you want Rory Laird as your D6, he'll be there as an option, but I'm not sure if he's going to be D6 material. That's the only thing. Now, Rankin was the pick of the bunch of all the forwards, besides those cheapos that we had, like the McRae's and the Caleb Daniels, which we'll talk about as well. But Rankin was the other one, the cherry, okay? And he was a bargain at 520k. So if you've got Rankin, you started him, you've done good, okay? And if you don't have him, you're going to have to find a way to get him before he goes up in price. And Dawson this week scored the 96, only 19 touches at 63%, so he sort of butchered it as well. Peatling had his best game for the year, okay, overdue. There wasn't much action here. We'll talk about Saligo. I would get him if he was forward eligible, but I'm not sure he's going to become that, so probably not. And Sid Draper scored the 49, nearly played a full game. Okay, 90% time on ground, so had a full game, Sid Draper. 59%, wrong player, okay, 59%, but played mainly up the forward line, so kicked the 2 goals as well for his 49, so if he gets midfield minutes, he's going to be a jet, but if he plays in the forward line, probably going to be a pass because of his price. And this week, Malera had the bad game, 39, and that's why his mid-prices scare me, okay, they're scared, they're absolutely poo-poo out of me right now, these mid-prices, so Malera, I'm not sure, probably a pass. And Matt Crouch, only 47 this week. Last week scored a 130, okay? This week only a 47. That's unbelievable, okay, for a midfielder. Now, at North Melbourne, Simpkin is going nuts, okay? Now, we saw him go nuts in a pre-season game for the All-Stars team, and he did it again. Whole season, he's going nuts. I wasn't expecting. I had him last year. He didn't do nothing like this. Okay, so every time he got to 100, I was so happy because it was very rare. But he's doing it on a weekly basis now. He's doing what Sheasel should be doing. Okay, this should be Sheasel doing this, but it's Simpkin. So Sheasel's, we're just going to hold him now. Okay, he's absolutely killing us, destroying us right now. But we can't get rid of him. Okay, he's going to be a top 6. If he improves. If he doesn't improve, he's not going to be a top 6, obviously. We have to trade him out, but we're just going to cop it now. We're going to lose the cash. You've already copped one. You've already copped two. What is it? One bullet now. 30k drop in price or 40k. It's going to be more this week, but we've got other things to fix now. So I wouldn't worry about Sheasels. Just leave him in the team. And you just got to cop it on the chin, like a lot of us are going to cop it. Now, going further down, no one's scoring at North Melbourne because they're all sharing the points. A lot of points being shared here. Parker is not good. Sherry, 89. He's going to have scans. Let's have a look if the scans are complete yet at North Melbourne. Let's have a look. I'm looking for an article I read earlier this morning, and it's not here. They must have either deleted it or added more things in here, but it said here that he was going to go in for scans. Sherry's going to go for scans on his hammies, but I can't see nothing here. So maybe he's not going for scans. I don't know what's going on, okay? So it looks like the article has been deleted, okay? I can't find it, so I don't know what's going on. Well, hopefully Sherry is going to be okay and play again for you guys this week. Now, going further down at North Melbourne, there isn't many players. LDU, 63 this week, and that score stays in a 3-week scoring cycle. So he's going to drop in price. However, even if he's 450k, I'm not interested in LDU, okay? Maybe I'll get him as a spare, okay? But I had LDU last year. He drove me nuts. And this North Melbourne midfield is not scoring. You can see here, no one's scoring points except for Simpkin, okay? And Simpkin's playing a lot of outside. That's where he gets a lot of his points. So I just don't get it. Okay, Caleb Daniel's a jet. We know that. But this week, Powell didn't score. We saw last time Powell was going nuts. Well, this is the real Tom Powell that I know, okay? Scored the 48 points this week. So Powell, he was an imposter, okay? He was impersonating a gun, okay? That's what Powell was doing, but he's not really one of those guns that I knew of. So, Finn O'Sullivan scoring a 44, the roll's not there, okay? Same as Constantine, the roll's not there. Constantine needs goals. Kick 2 goals for a 41. So, imagine kicks no goals, that scores like a 15, okay? Only 7 touches. And the same thing with Finn O'Sullivan. He had 16 disposals, right? Went at 81%, no tackles. No contested possessions, only 4 of them, okay, not many. That's the problem. They're all easy touches. You know, you don't get points for these easy scores these days. So, I only scored the 44 points. If I owned him, I'd probably trade him out, to be honest. If I need the cash to bring in, let's say, a Bailey Smith, okay, I would probably do it. And probably downgrade him to a Marias, okay, who gets more touches. Now, we go to this West Coast and Freo game, and I've got a player here I want to talk about, okay? It's Maric. Okay, now, I took note of the score. Look, 24 kicks, 4 handballs, all right? Let's dig in deep to Maric. I dug in deep this week, okay? Now, I'm going to show you something. Because I put up a tweet, all right? It said here, Humpty versus Maric. Who would you take, okay? Because I'm very confusion right now, okay? I'm very confused. So, I put up here both none, Humpty or Maric. Now, Humpty is the crowd favourite right now. 43% out of nearly 1,600 votes. 43% are on the Humpty train, okay? 20%, however, on the Maric train. And we've got none of them. There's also 20%. Someone saying, well, out of every 5 people, 1 person is saying, don't pick any of these players. And then some people are saying, pick both of them, okay? However, Humpty is winning the percentage-wise. Nearly every second person is saying, go for Humpty. Now, we're going to dig in deep with Maric, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is the kick-ins. Now, he had 9 kick-ins. We saw McGovern have 2. He went off at 3/4 time. When he went off at 3/4 time, then we had Duggan come in and take the 2 kick-ins, because I watched him very close. I wanted to see what Maric can do with McGovern out of the team. This was very important for me, because I was planning on bringing Maric in the following week, which was this week. So I wanted to see what effect McGovern has on Maric. Okay, now, Duggan taking these 2 kick-ins gave me some alarm bells. Okay, however, my alarm bells intensified when I saw this. Okay, now let me go to Fantasy Supercoach first. Okay, now Supercoach last week we saw, where is it? Okay, Maric last week played in the back pocket. Okay, and in the back pocket he scored 72 points last week in the back pocket. This week, all right, Maric played halfback flank. Now, halfback flank, you can see here the difference in the maps, okay? We've got here, okay, the back pocket, okay? You see here, he's in the back pocket, and here he's a halfback flank. He was more roaming around as the intercept defender at the halfback flank, whereas in the back pocket, he was more locked down. Now, and also taking the kick in, so he only scored 72 last week. However, once the governor went off the ground, I noticed that Harley Reid went to halfback. Okay, now if we take a look at Harley Reid's map later on, you're going to see that Harley Reid, not that he had a lot of touches, all right, but Harley Reid had this role here at halfback. Then Maric moved to this back pocket here again, all right? And so Maric's role is at risk now with the governor out. I thought it would be better, but it's probably going to be worse because then we're going to have Harley Reid coming to halfback because the coach said that Harley Reid probably going to play halfback for a while because they want to get him into the game, okay? Well, he didn't say it exactly like that, but I'm reading between the lines, okay? So, because Harley Reid can't get into the game right now in the midfield, so they're probably going to move into the back line. And if this happens, we're going to see Maric in the back pocket, and he's not good, okay? Now, and I'm going to pass on Maric for this reason. We're going to see his scoring again, but if we look at Maric's scores, okay, let's have a look. Go to Maric is here. Where's Maric? Okay, now his scores last week was 72. The previous week he only played not much, 33% time on ground, but he still scored at 0.77 points per minute. Last week was at 0.63. This week he went at 1.14. If he goes at 0.77 even points per minute, you're looking roughly around about 80 points. 270k. I'm spending that cash to get 100 at this time of the year. I'm not spending that cash to get an 80 because I can get those 80s from those 113k Mariah's type rookies. I don't need to get it. I don't need a score of 80 if I'm going to spend 270k. So because for 270k, I'm spending the extra 150k on him, where I can put that 150k towards Bailey Smith, okay, who I need to bring in. So for that reason alone, I'm going to pass on our boy Maric, and I might be making a mistake. I might be looking too deep into it, okay? Because maybe he does go off and score a 123. So when I go to quarter by quarter fantasy scoring, all right, I look at Maric. Quarter 1, 18. This is fantasy points. Quarter 2, quarter 3, like 38, 32. Then the minute we see that the governor goes out, he only scores 13 points. I was expecting this to be roughly, if not 30, I was actually hoping for it to be 40 to 45. With the governor out, Maric's going to take control of the back line. That didn't happen the way I expected it. And if you look at Harley Reid, he had his best quarter, okay? Quarter 1, 7, 15, 17. His best quarter was that last quarter when he played half-back, which was also happened to be Maric's worst quarter. So Harley Reid took Maric's spots, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's what I saw. So it's put me off. Okay, I'm happy to watch Maric another week. His break-even's minus 39. If he scores a 150, okay, I'll bring him in. If he scores a 120, I'll bring him in. I'll pay the extra for him because I'm happy to pay 70k extra, all right, knowing that he's got that role. If he scores an 80, I won't be interested. Okay, put it that way. So I'd rather probably pass on Maric this week. But in saying that, if he goes another 120, then I've made a mistake, okay? So, and I do make lots of mistakes. So sometimes you can sort of try to read things and go too deep and get it all wrong. So it doesn't mean what I said is right, but that's how I've seen it. So I'm just calling it as I see it. Now, at West Coast, is there anyone else that's Supercoach relevant? Okay, now, well, Jack Graham, I mean, only 17 disposals. He's still got a 97 for 17 disposals. My midfielders can't score like this. I don't know how Jack Graham does it, but Jack Graham did it. Their ruckman, He had 22 hitouts. Freo's ruckman had 35. So is Williams their number one ruck now, or are we going to have Flynn come back next week? I'm not sure. Okay, we're going to find that out because it is based on form. So we'll see how they go with their rucks. Baker, the 85 is not good. We go further down, and that's what you expect from Baker. That's pretty much what he scores. Okay, that's going to be his average. Dewar this week only scored the 46 points. Nothing like last week where he went nuts. Okay. We saw Hewitt as a sub. Okay. And actually, he scored decent for a sub. Scored the 22 points, 33% time on ground. But still, he ruined everyone's cash making. That's what happened. Okay. And now he's a sub risk. So that's another possibility. Now it could also be a sub. So problems there at West Coast. Now, we move over to Freo. Luke Jackson. Well, the word now is that Shrek's coming back next week, but going to play through the VFL. So Luke Jackson's got one more week in the ruck. Okay, then he's going to play full forward. So I would avoid at all costs Luke Jackson. Okay, especially now his price has gone up. Okay, so just forget it. I'd almost sell him next week. Okay, and just take the profit. Although he does have a 165, so maybe wait 2 weeks and then take the profit and run. Okay, that's what I'll do with Luke Jackson. Now, going further down, Murphy Reid, the 106, 19 disposals, 2 behinds. It's a crazy score, okay? We've got players to come back. When these players come back, we're talking about Young. We're talking about who else has got to come back? O'Meara's got to come back. Does Reid, where did he play? Okay, Reid playing as a small forward role. That's a massive score for a small forward role. But keep in mind, he played West Coast. But if you jumped on Reid, you were absolutely laughing, okay? The timing could not be any better, okay? So congratulations, well done. I'm very jealous, okay? That's what the story is. Now, O'Driscoll, very happy with this recruit. I've never seen a winger average 100 before, okay, except for O'Driscoll. Okay? I can't believe this. So he's going at 100. It's nuts. Clark is going to go between 105 and 110 for the whole year. Probably a bit low for what you expect from Clark. Let's have a look at the kick-ins. Well, last week we saw Clark take 5 kick-ins. This week only 2 kick-ins. So it's unpredictable. The previous week 0 kick-ins. So I can't work out who's got all these kick-ins. Looks like it's going to be shared between Ryan and Clark. And then sometimes Ryan hogs more. But there wasn't many kick-ins. There's only 7 kick-ins for the game. So he couldn't get a lot of the kick-ins this week, which meant not many points. Ryan, something wrong with him. But Clark needs 5 kick-ins to get a decent score, okay? 5 kick-ins gets him a 110, 120. When you only have 2, you're looking roughly around about 100, 105, which is what he got this week. So we need more kick-ins for Clark. Now, Shai Bolton had a big game, okay? Scored the 94 Supercoach points. That's a decent tally. Now, let's have a look how much CBAs did he get this week. He had 39% CBAs. It looks like in his last 2 games, well, his only 2 games, he's at 41% and 39%. That's decent. He's getting the same numbers he got at Richmond now. So that's actually quite good, which means he could average close to between 90 and 100. Okay, so it's actually, he probably could end up being better than the Horny Man. Okay, so, but I don't think he's going to finish in the top 6 depending on those DPPs and who comes in. Because if Petrarca comes in, he's going to be better. So, and we also got Tuk. He may get DPP. So, we'll just wait and see on Shai Bolton. I'd say it's an avoid, a pass for now. Mind you, he hasn't kicked any goals. Okay, so once he starts kicking goals, his score will hit the roof. Okay, so that's another thing to consider because no goals, Shai Bolton, and he still scored the 94. Okay, add in a couple of goals here because he's usually kicks a couple of goals. You're looking at a 120. So Shai Bolton has got a ceiling. And you can see here he's an impact player because 64 fantasy, 94 Supercoach. So he's an impact type player. Dudley came on as a rookie, 99k, very cheap. Okay, Dudley from the $2 shop. Okay, so we got him cheap price for Dudley. However, he kicked his 2 goals. They were impact goals. It got him to 50 points by half time. Then he ended up scoring an extra 30 odd points. I'm not sure if Dudley's going to be one of these big scorers. I think Dudley's going to be similar to these Kakos type players where he's going to go 30s, 20s, a couple of 40s here and there. So he's not going to be a big player, but Luke Ryan is a talk of the town right now. 81 Supercoach point. He's finished, okay? He's gone. Last year, he was my hero. I didn't start him this year. I didn't start him last year. I brought him in last year, but I didn't start him this year, luckily, and he's a not good. Okay, Luke Ryan. Erasmus scored the 80. Job security, we don't know, because Young's going to come back in, as we mentioned. O'Meara. So Erasmus came in just to replace them, I'd say. So I'm not sure on Erasmus. And we go further down, and there's not much else to talk about here. That's pretty much it. Now, we're going to enter the Scodfather group. All right, now we've got nearly 2,300 people in this group. Okay, and this group, last year we had 5 players ranked number 1. Actually, it was 6 at one stage. Now we've got Quinn at the top this week. He's storming to the top. Okay, ranked number 2, and absolutely having an unbelievable season. The only thing, Quinn, is your cash gen, 10.6 mil. There are teams just below you got 10.7. Clayton, the Spud Guns. Okay, just be careful of him. He's a very dangerous man, and he seems like a player. I've been chatting to him, and I've been chatting to Quinn as well. I actually chat to all of them. Okay, even chat to my mate here, Fahdi. Okay, and he's another good mate, poker player. So the 3 of them are on fire. One's ranked 2, one's ranked 4, one's ranked 5. We've got 3 players in the top 5 at Abs Magic in the Scodfather group. It's insane. And we got the Gulden tickets. That's Sam's team, ranked 37. We got Braden Slim Dusty Martin's team, ranked 43. Okay, he's having a big year. He jumped up 800 spots to get to here. So a massive jump. Well, a player that even jumped more is Evans' team, the Flag Dons, jumped up 949 spots to 71. That's unheard of, okay? No one jumps like this to a top 100. I've never done something like this before. We've got Jason's team, Timmy Tarantula, okay? And he's jumped up 667 spots, and he's having a big year. But you got to keep in mind here, this cash gen, all right, we need to get it to Fahdi's level, 10.743. That's big cash, okay? We want to try to get our cash as high as we can. I'm not even sure how much cash I've got, so my team is probably not making any cash either. Now, going further down, we've got the Doobies. That's Matthew's team, okay, ranked 71. And we got another team in the top 100s. We've got a lot of them, okay? We got Big Long's team. That's Lockie's team. Big Long, ranked 77. We've got the Batman. That's Mehdi's team, ranked 77 as well. We have Noah's team, the Noah's Legs, okay? He's got the hot legs, Noah, okay? And he shaves them every day. So Noah's team, ranked 89 right now. And ranked at 102, just outside the top 100, we have Shane in the 2 hard basket, okay? There's all the tough stuff in the hard basket. So he's ranked at 102 right now. Now, we go to the leagues now. We're going to start off first with the Scodfather Legends. Let's go to Game Day, okay? Game Day, Scodfather Legends. And matchups this week, we had Chris, who's flying, okay? He had a roadblock this week, okay, from Supercoach Insiders. He had a massive 2 weeks. This week he slowed down. And Januff's team, last year's champion, Januff, okay? And scored a 2005. We had Ray Magoo, who's actually on top of the ladder first, JP's team, and scored the 1912. Had a victory over Pistol Pete from Dr. Supercoach. We have here George, who was looking at 2,000 plus, but then a few players let him down. Okay, he scored the 1963 and defeated Andrew from the Lockheads. Okay, I think it's called Lock Supercoach, I think it's called. And 18-19, he'd be very disappointed with that because he was similar to Chris, having had a huge start. So he'd be very upset with that. And you can catch him on his YouTube channel. The Mini Monk is back. Okay, top 4. Had a victory over my boy Dan Batten this week. We had Damon Jackson, okay, from Supercoach Edge. He had a victory over Smoking Joe this week. Smoking Joe very upset this week, 1892. And we had a close game here with another team from the centre bounds. That's Jeremy's team. And 1940, that's Big J. 1944 defeating JD this week, 1914, and JD's going to bounce back next week. Now, we had the Phantom coming third. After he defeated me last week, he went on and defeated Tim Mitchell this week. So Tim Mitchell is not very happy right now, 1931 to 1878. Now, we had Selby have a victory here this week, 1882 against Damo, who was looking like he was going to get 2,000 on one stage. And I don't know what happened to him, okay? The team collapsed on Sunday. So Damo's team, 1854. Abs Magic had a match-up with a good friend of mine, Supercoach of DR, and it was a close tussle all day until probably the last game. And then we had Hayden. I don't know how he got 1911. He was on 1674 at one stage. He had a massive last game, okay? That's a huge score from Hayden. Considering how bad he was going, magnificent comeback by the young man, okay? But it wasn't enough against Al Payton, who had a 10-point victory over here. Al Payton in the top of the ladder. Now, let's have a look at the ladder. Now, this league is ranked 75. It's decent, but I'm going to shock you in a minute of other league rankings. But this is the 75th best league right now out of 120,000 leagues. Actually, no. Am I wrong? Maybe it's not 120,000. That's 120,000 league points. I'm not sure how many leagues there are, but anyway, we're ranked 75th here. JP on top, George coming second, and the Phantom and the Mini Monk make up the top four here. And then we got Al Payton, Supercoach of DR, who had a shock loss this week against Abs Magic, the Spuds that defeated the legend. We've got Janoff's team here. And Big J. Now, we've got a lot of teams on 4 points, actually. Okay, we go all the way down. We can see Tim Mitchell, Selby. So we're all on 4 points, lock. And we've got how many teams here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams waiting for their first victory. So it'll come soon for these young men. And we've got Hayden right now on the bottom of the ladder. Okay, so Junior Phantom is going to have a big week this week. Now, we're going to go to Scodfather Champions. And this is the league that we'll all aim to get onto. Okay, if you're in my leagues here, Scodfather Cup 1, 2, 3, whatever, the winner of each one of these cups ends up in the Scodfather Champions. Okay, the top 8 teams in this league stay where they are. The bottom 12, okay, go out the following year. We get new recruits. Okay, so that's where we get 10 from here, and we grab 2 from the Scodfather group. Okay, two players from here come in. Now, in this league here, where is it? Scodfather Champions. It's the number 1 ranked league right now. It's the best league. Okay, the toughest league you can play in. This is it. Okay, now, as you can see here, Abs Magic is coming second in the toughest league, and we can't. But the funny thing is, the third toughest league, which we also have, I'm coming second last. Okay, so it's just the luck of the draw. Okay, who you're going to match up against. Now, Eugene's on top, and Abs Magic coming second. We have Quez here coming we've got a lot of players here with the 2 wins, and then we've got a lot of teams here with the 4 points. You know, on the bottom of the ladder, we need these players to lift. Okay, we need Nathaniel, which was last year's. Came top 10 last year. Nathaniel's a gun, okay, and he's actually having a good year. If you look at Nathaniel's score, he's ranked 5-6, okay, he's actually ranked better than me, but he's on the bottom, so it doesn't make any sense, okay, and Wanga, even Joven, okay, look at Joven, he's ranked 4,200, okay, he's only like 50 points outside of top 1,000, so even though he's having a good year, it's a tough league, it's a number 1 ranked league, so it's very... All these teams are ranked really high, so it's actually nuts. Okay, now we'll go to Scodfather Cup 1, and we lost to Spud Guns, but I'm happy to lose it to a team that's ranked the 4th best team in Australia right now. So Spud Guns is ranked number 4. Now this group is ranked 31st best league. Scodfather Cup 2, we had a victory over Rowie's Heroes, and this league is ranked 118. Okay, now Scodfather Cup 3. Cheap Wine, Angelo's team. He buys it from the $2 shop, the wines, okay? So the Cheap Wine, and we had a victory over them, ranked 77, the Scodfather Cup number 3. Scodfather Cup 4, we got smashed by Cooper's team. And Cooper, let's have a look at Cooper's team. Where's he ranked? Cooper's ranked in the top 1,000. That's why we lost to him, okay? So we lost to Cooper's team. This league is ranked 41st, okay? Now, Scodfather Cup 5, we lost to Cyril Cyrilicious, okay, and that's Mets team, and this league is ranked 34. You can see all these leagues are ranked very high. Scodfather Cup 6, we had a victory over La Law and Order, and that's Nicolasticos team, my friend Nicolastico, and he's one of our captain's corner experts, and this league's ranked 86. Now look at this one now, Scodfather Cup 7. Okay, now we lost to do a push-up. Do a push-up Jakey. Now, this league is ranked third best league in Australia right now. So we've got the two of the top 3 leagues right now. Now let's see where's do a push-up Jakey ranked. Okay, what's going on with Remy's team? Well, he's ranked 463. Okay, that's why I lost to him. What are these teams ranked? Let's have a look. Well, Fati's ranked 5th. Okay, so he's leading the pack. We've got Jasper's team. That's Jelly. Okay, he's ranked 8. How did you get there now? We've got Jaden's team. If it ain't Boke, he's ranked 47,000. Now, Jaden, okay, now, this league will be ranked first. Jaden, you got to do something, okay? Get this ranking up higher. Now, we've got Adventurous Tortoise. That's James's team, ranked 1,500. We've got the Slack Attack. That's Daryl's team. Where's he ranked? 7,600. So, they're high rankings, okay? Now, Scodfather Cup 8, still rebuilding, and this team, Isuru's team, they're still rebuilding, okay, and we had a victory over them because they're still rebuilding, and 117 ranked league. Scodfather Cup 9, we had a 1-point win, okay, and now Do This, Do That didn't do enough this week, okay, he didn't do this and do that. 1-point victory, okay, it was a nail-biter till the end, and this is ranked 98. Now, where is Do This, Do That ranked? Let's have a look. Where's our leader ranked? Meatloaf Mashes, where you ranked? 1,820, okay, he's having a good year. Where's Do This, Do That? Okay, I'm going to find you, okay, this is Chun's team, ranked 27,000, okay, but he's coming back, probably ranked 40,000 last week, so he's jumping, maybe even 50,000 last week. He's climbing up the rankings. Now, in the last one, Scodfather Cup 10, and this is the Ice Bailey Smiths, or Bailey Sniff, okay, now, and we had a victory here. And this league also ranked 37th. And our leader, the Meatheads, that's Mitchell's team, ranked 10,600, okay, having a decent year. Now, in the Scodfather Cash group, I'm going to discuss that on the Cash video, but I can tell you that it's been updated now. So if you want to have a look at your rankings, and if you've won or if you've lost, you can find all the updates. Now, I can tell you right now that 2 of the top 10 teams have already been knocked out. Okay, 2 of them are gone, the top 10, including last week's weekly winner. The team that scored the highest points last week got knocked out this week. So it's huge upsets at the Cash group. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions in regards to this price projector that I have, and a lot of people that have never seen it before asking me, where do you get it from? Okay, now, if you go to videos, okay, and you go to this video called, where is it? Okay, a Game Changer. Okay, so it was about a month ago I released this video, and you'll see that there's a little, watch the video, it's only 12 minutes, it's a short video, only 12 minutes, and it explains to you how to get the price projector. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining, and remember one thing, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.